All right, good Wednesday evening, everyone. Thanks for stopping by for a check of your forecast. It is a little past 8:30. It is June 18th, year of our Lord 2025. Got a severe thunderstorm warning now over there in Childress and in Cottle County. That's actually going to be in effect until 9:15 p.m. So here for about another 45 minutes. That's how long that warning is expected to persist. That's just due to some additional development that we're seeing from some of those cells in and around Childress. There's really two cells to keep an eye on. We've gotten another one that's starting to billow up there on the south end of Hall County. That one may need to be monitored later this evening as well. But these are posing mostly a wind threat up to 60 miles an hour. You can see the outflow boundary starting to collide and push away from this storm. I don't really suspect this one will hang around for very long, but this one did just get going there along that outflow boundary and seems to be moving in a southwest direction away from Childress. That one, if it can hang on to the boundary, we may need to keep an eye on it. There was a brief tornado near Elmer, Oklahoma earlier this evening. So obviously there is enough wind shear for a tornado potential there in kind of the southwest Oklahoma, southeast Texas Panhandle, but these storms are pretty isolated. Only going to impact a small section of the viewing area. Again, it's just the Childress, Hall, and Cottle County for our viewing area, with a few others encompassed in there as well. But right now, would expect this one to probably start to fall apart a little pretty quick. Again, it does have some rotation in it. It does look like it is starting to fall apart. You probably got a little side lobe contamination there too, again, at least on that second to last scan. But there is some rotation there. That would be kind of your traditional hook feature of that storm as it moves in a southwest direction. This one also moving in a almost stationary or southwest orientation to close to Tell, Texas there, again, just in the southwest corner of Childress County. Colleyville, you guys will have to keep an eye on this storm. It continues to develop and move in the southwest direction. May eventually start to impact you within the next 15 to 20 minutes. But this is just warned for 1-inch hail and 60-mile-an-hour winds. If you can take a look at the entire viewing area, things are very quiet. We've only got just that one storm, two storms really, kind of down there in that southeast corner. So that's something that we'll continue to watch and monitor. You can see from the Skycam there in Childress, looks like we're looking at the southwest storm. Really, can't make out any good structure features there underneath the cloud. Looks like the base is pretty high, so not a huge concern for any tornado potential. And we did have that cloud to ground lightning strike out there just a second ago. But if anything happens with that storm, this would be a good thing to keep an eye on from, is that Childress camera. Clarendon, I don't know if it's looking in the right direction, but you can see a few of those storms kind of off in the distance over there. So a couple of cameras down there to watch, but right now it's pretty isolated. So this is really the only area that we've got any kind of severe storm activity for this evening. The severe thunderstorm watch will go until 11 p.m. tonight, so don't really anticipate this to persist for the entire evening. But we will see probably those isolated cells continue down there for another couple hours. We have that slight risk down there in Childress and Cottle County, which again, we think by about 10 o'clock tonight, we're probably done with the severe weather potential. I do want to go ahead and cover some of our high temperatures that we've had so far this month. We don't have today's on there just because today's not over yet, but likely was in the mid 80s today. It's still 82, so I won't say that we can't get there, but we have been relatively cool in the wake of the cold front that came through last night. We've had 5 days in June where we've made it into the 90s. Those days shaded in red are also corresponding with above average temperatures. You can see we've had a lot of 70s and 80s though, predominantly here for the first half of June. We did not get to 100 yesterday here in Amarillo. So I was doing a little bit of some digging around based on some of the historical data. It's been really hard to have a year or a summer without triple digits here in Amarillo, at least for the last 25 years or so. If you date this all the way back to 2000, we've only had 2 years where we've had temperatures below 100 the entire year. And that was 2002 and 2015. So if you're basing it off of the last 24 years, there's about an 8% chance that we have a summer without triple digits here in Amarillo. And so far, haven't had any. Granted, the summer just began, at least meteorological summer did, on June 1st. And again, we are more than likely going to try and get there at some point, either later this month or into July. August can be a pretty hot month for us, and sometimes we can get into the triple digits in September too. So we've got plenty of time to get there. Don't want to jinx us and certainly not hoping to get there. But so far, we have been triple digit free in Amarillo this summer. Here's your highs for tomorrow. We should be back up into the 90s, 94 in Amarillo, 97 in Borger. We'll go ahead and walk you through that computer model. Again, it's not picking up on those storms very well down in the southeast, but we expect that they will fall apart here in the next couple of hours, and then we'll have a quieter day tomorrow for the Panhandle, and then we'll have some residual showers coming off the mountains there on I-25. Some of those could make their way into Union County in the later evening hours, but most of us will return back into the 90s for those highs again tomorrow afternoon. Friday, same story, just a different day. We'll see those showers pulse up near the mountains. Once they get far enough away from the cool air aloft, then they'll probably fall apart, and we'll stay quiet here in the Panhandles with temperatures a little bit above average, getting into the mid-90s. So here's our next weather maker that we're watching. Largely, it's going to be quiet and dry through the next several days. That's in part due to this ridge that is currently located over southeast New Mexico. It's going to build back in over the Panhandles tomorrow. By Friday afternoon, it should start to be making its way back over towards the Arklatex. And by the weekend, it should be in the Mississippi Valley, River Valley, there in the Midwest, and then the Ohio River Valley by Monday of next week. Now, what that's going to do is it's going to allow for this trough to set up out here in the West Coast, and that actually will help funnel in some of that moisture from the subtropical jet stream in the central Pacific. And we're also going to get this ridge of high pressure to allow for some Gulf moisture flowing into South Texas. And all of this is going to get funneled into the southern plains. Now, we still need a lifting mechanism or some kind of catalyst to kickstart thunderstorms. But next week, the moisture is going to be in place. So there is going to be a better chance for rain moving towards that final week, or rather that second half of June, mostly in New Mexico. Looks like it's going to be full-fledged monsoonal moisture for them. But we are close enough here in the Panhandles that we do think that we'll have a chance for some above average precipitation chances. Just generally speaking, the further west you go, I think the more active you're going to be for seeing some of those thunderstorms. Our wind shear does not look that good next week. So severe weather, it could happen. It's going to be more of those pulse-like thunderstorms, though, where they just kind of blow up real quick, and then we get these macro burst or micro burst style winds where these storms collapse on themselves. They put down a big outflow boundary. You may get some additional storms to fire on outflows, as they continue to kick away from the initial storms that do get going. But that's a very summer-like pattern for us. We lose a lot of the wind shear, and so we lose that potential for supercell structure, tornado potential, things like that tend to go away as we get into the middle of summer. And that seems to be kind of the way that we're trending for next week. Is while we do expect storms, the threat for supercells looks to be relatively low, at least here in the southern plains. Now, you get up into the northern plains and the central plains of Nebraska, Minnesota, the Dakotas, they will probably have severe weather up there. We'll probably have supercells. More than likely, we'll have at least a handful of tornadoes next week up there on the other side of the U.S., well north of the Panhandles. And doesn't mean that we can't have any. It's just a lot harder for them to occur with the lack of wind shear that we're probably going to have next week. So here's that 7-day tracker. Tomorrow, got that holiday. Enjoy it. Hopefully it was a short week for you, and then we'll be in the high 90s on Friday. There's about a 30% chance Amarillo hits 100, but I think we'll stay shy of it. And then we'll be in the lower 90s through the weekend, and then that pattern swap starts to happen as we jump into next week. For Amarillo, the chance of rain relatively low, but the further west you go, the higher your chances are going to be at seeing some additional rainfall through next week, heading into that 24th through the 28th time frame. Areas like Ute Lake, Logan, Tucumcari, there's a lot of 6 to 10 day rain outlooks, kind of suggesting, or at least ensembles, that y'all could see between 1 to 2 inches worth of rain through about a 5 to 7 day window as we move into next week. So it could get wet for you guys. I don't know if it's going to be enough to cause the lake to run over the spillway. We're going to need a pretty sizable amount of runoff. We still need that lake to catch about 11 to 12,000 acre feet of water to reach that 200,000 acre feet capacity, which is when it starts to run over that mandatory spillway and into the Canadian River. Again, it's been close the last couple of years, but it has not run over it. We really need a big runoff event out there in New Mexico in order for that to happen. So even though you guys are getting these nice half-inch, 3/4 of an inch rain events in some areas, we really need probably like a widespread 3 to 5 inch rain out there in that watershed to get that lake to come up over the spillway. So I don't know if that's going to happen next week, but you guys are going to probably be wet. Let's jump back over to your radar real quick before we let you go. Again, we still have that one severe warning storm down there in Childress and Cottle County. It is until 9:15 p.m. It's for these two cells here. This one's actually got a pretty cold cloud top on it there in the eastern side of Cottle County. Sorry, a couple of our chasers are messaging me. And then this is a newer cell that's developed on the southwest corner of Cottle County. That one not as cold in the cloud top environment, but it has pulsed up pretty quick, and so that's why that one did go severe, capable of 1-inch hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds. Again, this is back building and almost moving southwest. So Tell and Cooleyville or Colleyville, you guys are going to see this storm move in that direction as it moves into the north side of Cottle County. Kirkland, there is a hail core on Hardeman County's side, but it is moving southwest. That will probably pass over 287 there, just to the south and east of Kirkland. So that's where you're going to see some of that 1-inch hail potentially within that storm, passing just to the east of Kirkland. And then also you've got this hail core out here, probably capable of some quarters on the southwest side of Childress County. But that's really all that's going on. Again, those cells probably will fall apart here in the next couple hours. Don't really expect them to be much of a tornado concern, but they are producing some pretty good rain rates in some isolated areas. So kudos to you guys that are getting to cash in on some of that rainfall. That's where I think we're going to end your live here for this evening. Enjoy the rest of your night. If anything else pops up tonight, we will jump back